to this episode in A Tea in the Desert. I'm your host Danny, and today I'm joined by my co-host and business partner, Fads. Fads,
What's going on?
welcome.
Thank you. You're liking this podcast gig, aren't you?
It's not easy. It actually takes a lot of preparation.
You seem to be enjoying it though.
Yeah, it's good fun. I think we've got a lot of plans going on. So before we get into this topic, guys, I like to start this podcast by asking two random questions by breaking the ice. All right. So the first question is: if you were a brand, what would your slogan be?
Sometimes impressive, but usually lazy.
What makes you say that?
Because I'm usually lazy.
Or would you rather be poor at work with a job you love, or rich at work with a job you hate?
Rich at work with a job I hate. Sorry, mate. I've done a job I hate and a job I love, and I would like the money instead.
So today, I think it's really important to sort of, I guess, more of a reality check.
Today's a reality check.
Yeah, I think when people think about e-commerce, think about starting an e-com brand, an online store. What's the first thing they do? The first thing they think of is Alibaba, AliExpress. It's like, let's source the products. It's so easy. It's like literally all I have to do is download an app.
Yeah, and message some suppliers. That's it.
Some suppliers.
And then very quickly, you'll begin to see that the cost of product is quite low, and then naturally, our business part of our brains will start to think, okay, if I can sell this product for $10 and I can buy it for $1, okay, that's $9 profit. And then that's when things start to click.
Profit.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much more to it.
But that's exactly right. There's so much more to it. But that's what gets people in the entrepreneurial mindset. And then you start to see things like changing their Instagram bio to entrepreneur and e-com king, $10 million in 1 year or whatever it is. You'll see stuff like that popping up just because someone went on Alibaba and just messaged a few suppliers and got a few prices. It's a serious misrepresentation of what it actually takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. And I think this is why today we want to sort of cover a couple of points and make people look, we're not saying don't start an e-com brand.
We 100%
we've started our own company.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so we're not gonna sit there and say, hey, don't start your own brand. In fact, we encourage you to start your own brand.
Yeah.
But I think just be mindful.
We just want to lay the groundwork, lay the pathway and the warning signs of what you might be getting into as you go along this journey. And that's it's a very clear, the purpose of this episode is to do two things. Number one, tell you what's ahead of you, even though you're probably doing lots of research, watching hundreds of hours of YouTube videos, and everything in between. And two, know what kind of financial commitment you're going into, because, unfortunately, it is no longer gone are the days of running an ad and getting sales. There's so much more to it. So much more to it. And I feel that lots of people don't know it and consequently lose a lot of money. A lot of money. Running advertisements, running ads, and basically throwing money in the wind because they don't know how to structure the campaigns. They don't know how to sell write copy that works. They don't know what rates, what click-through rates are, or they don't know what conversion rates are. They don't know, so much. So we're not gonna teach you in this, but we're gonna tell you potentially some things that you may not be aware of.
Yeah, and I think to back what you're saying, 90% of e-com brands fail because of a lack of, when you start an e-com brand, it's you don't build a company from day one. Usually it's just yourself until you get a bit of cash. Then you start hiring your first person, and start building your brand, start building your business. But 90% of people don't even get to that phase of creating a company.
Yeah, that's I believe that. Yeah.
Saturated market now. Everyone's an entrepreneur. Everyone's starting an online business.
Yeah. And the thing is, everyone thinks that they can sell something by putting it on an online store, but the reality is that's probably 5% of the work that needs to be done. There's a lot more.
What more needs to be done than just putting something on an online store?
I mean, you can start at pretty much the store itself. Like, I come from a design and development background. I've built probably hundreds of online stores and have a team and manage the team that builds those stores. We see so much stuff like, clients coming up to us and saying, this is my website. I just want to, freshen it up a bit, make it look good. But what does that actually mean?
What is freshen up?
Yeah, what does that, does that mean we need to redevelop the brand, or does that mean we need to change the structure of the homepage? Like, what does that actually mean? And there's so much more there's a lot of stuff. So that's just in terms of website. Then there's like direct copy or sales copy. So say for example, I'm selling this phone, right? What is some copy that is both branded and so direct such that it is an irresistible offer, an irresistible piece of tech that I need to use in my everyday life? And then if you unpack that, okay, you can have a great website with a great product and a great packaging and a great user experience of the product, great copywriting, etc. Okay, now, how do we build a brand? Okay, we run traffic to the website. Cool. How do we do that? Great. We build a funnel online, in terms of our campaign. And then you can speak to that. What does that mean? How do you build a funnel?
But also, I want to track back a step when you're talking about the website, right? You have to think about branding.
Yep.
And I think
there's a lot of steps before the website that you've got to take. Yeah.
I think too many people confuse branding with website, thinking, just like make the website look that color scheme and that's it. But branding is actually a lot more.
Can I even track back a little bit more? What problem are you solving with your brand? You can do literally all 538 steps of building a brand, building a product, building a product range, building a website, building everything. But and then once you click run on ads and you wait 2 to 3 months and then you realize, wait, you haven't sold anything. Why do you think that's the case? It's because maybe the product doesn't work, or the product or the market doesn't like your product. So there's so much that has to go on and on and on. And there's a lot of testing involved, and people don't realize it. People think that, I'm gonna get a teeth whitening kit and I'm gonna run ads to it and I'm gonna become a millionaire. Exactly. like so and so from YouTube who does it. Like, yeah, but have you done market research? Have you seen what kind of what the market responds to for that particular niche? Have you looked at what products work and what don't? Have you looked at the industry? Like, have you looked at if this is a saturated or exhausted industry or exhausted audience? Like, there's so much you got to do.
How can people do that research? So what are some tips and tricks up your sleeve? So say, okay, you need to do that marketing research, that market research. You need to identify who your customer is, right? And you need to see if there's a need or desire for your product. How do you approach that?
The first thing I would like to, make almost like a disclaimer, is that as a marketing agency, this is not our job.
Good point.
Okay? Because a lot of people come up at, a lot of people come up to us and say, hey, I'd like to sell this product. What are you going to do about it? We can give you a framework or a layout or some sort of marketing plan. The marketing agency's job is, if you're selling currently X thousand products a month or X products a month, okay? How do we get it to Y? How do we get it to, how can we increase the revenue to 2 times in the next 3 months? Cool, okay, this is the plan. This is how a marketing agency can help. However, if you're starting at 0 and you want to sell this product, a marketing agency generally won't be able to help you, because unless you have a lot of money backed, a lot of funding, or a lot of, you have a lot of money prepared to spend to advertising, then that gives us an opportunity to test. I think the best place to start would be at competitors. Take everything with a grain of salt. Just because a competitor is doing something doesn't mean you should copy it. You should be inspired by it, okay? Never ever copy any competitors, okay? We do not condone that. But a good place to start would be a competitor. Say, for example, let's go back to the teeth whitening product, for example. I'm not saying you should start a teeth whitening brand, but if you ever were, have a look at, big competitors such as, your High Smile, or now like big brands are doing it like Colgate and whatever, Oral-B. Have a look at what they're doing. Have a look at the ads, have a look at
Jump onto Facebook Ads Library.
Exactly, Facebook Ads Library. Look at the creative, look at the messaging, and look at how many different creatives they're running, because that is what formulates the funnel, okay? Top will be like brand awareness. For example, High Smile could be running an ad that says something along the lines of smile with High Smile, for example. If I was doing High Smile, I would say something like that. Something that targets the brand. Doesn't even talk about the product. Could make some references to the product, but mainly focuses on brand. Middle of funnel, maybe you can even add to that, Danny, but middle of funnel will be like, hey, have you seen our product? Have you seen...
Product focus.
Yeah, product focus.
Ads, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can add to that.
Testimonials.
Bang on, yeah, exactly.
Credibility.
Social proof.
Yeah. And then your remarketing is your offer.
Yep, exactly.
Get this, last chance, urgency.
Exactly. However, you could do all of this. You could do it perfectly. Maybe even do it better than High Smile, but it might not work. What are some reasons why it might not work?
There's a lot of reasons, right? So I think High Smile is a real big, well-known brand. And if you're trying to, the thing is, here's the thing, right? So many people probably just say, oh, even if I get a piece of what they sell. But it's the reality is these companies have spent time, years. They've bought data over how long? 10, 15 years. They have a loyal customer basis.
And they're spending data. So they may have bought data, but let's not forget, they're spending money way more than you'll be able to afford in the startup phases.
Correct.
Right? And Facebook will reward the impression to them more than they will reward the impression to you.
Correct. And sometimes, and here's the thing, right? Sometimes people get too carried away with their product and they think, oh, that's it. Aha, that's the ideal product and that's the one that's gonna sell. But then they forget that their vision is focused on them. It's a narrow focus. But where's the customer? Are they putting themselves in their customer's shoes? Are they looking from the other side? Because, hey, I know myself, when I see a Facebook ad from a random company, random business, not even company, business, right? I just go, well, whatever, I don't buy. But when I see it from something I know and I've seen people talk about, 100%, I don't think twice.
Yeah. How do you attack a market? Or attack a gap in the market, I should say?
Testing, putting out the product out in the market, getting feedback. I think that's really important. Testing and getting constant feedback from other people. Because you're not gonna find the gap in the market. You will find it through other people. And then you'll eventually start to piece and start to understand and put together what you're trying to sell. Right? Like, for example, how did we, that's a little bit sort of off topic from e-com, but how did we discover Digital Oasis? That's kind of a gap in the market, because what's happening now with agencies is you've got a lot of noise and a lot of people not trusting agencies. Hence why we formed Digital Oasis. We're here to help you and we're your oasis. We're here to guide you through your journey. And that's kind of a gap in the market in itself. How did we come up with that?
Well, the story is that other agencies will promise e-com owners or brand owners, crazy things. And that's what we like to liken as a mirage. A mirage being that, hey, we will guarantee 15 ROAS, for example, or 10 or 5 ROAS, where we'll guarantee you sales or you don't pay. I see this literally all day long, literally on my Facebook feed. So you'll find agencies that promise these unrealistic expectations, disappointing a lot of brand owners and ultimately potentially ruining businesses and thus ruining lives. This is not, unfortunately, our brand was born out of the unfortunate circumstances of our industry. Our industry is constantly, I don't want to say scamming, but for the lack of a better word, scamming, e-commerce owners or brand owners or shop front or shop owners or brick and mortar store owners, whatever it may be, telling them, hey, we will do all that you dream of, and we will give you your money back if we don't get it for you, and thus, XYZ happens. But
how did we discover that? And that's the thing. We discovered that through feedback.
Yeah.
Our clients that we signed on were always having the same problem.
My agency didn't do this and this and this.
And that's feedback. So let's shift back to e-com. Feedback from other people. So really, there's no easy way of knowing.
Yeah.
Right? I guess take out a notebook, right? And start sort of reflecting, start sort of thinking about writing a couple of sort of points, right? And feedback from other people. And then look at the trend over time and see if you can identify a gap in the market. Unfortunately, there's no easy sort of answer to that, but the reality is it takes money. You've got to test.
Effort and hundreds of hours of research.
Like $100 a day, or sorry, not 100, I should say $5 a day Facebook ad spend is not going to do it justice. You need to have a bit of backing, but also where you can actually identify a gap in the market is actually finding someone to connect with and network with who's been there, done that, and is a lot more invested into that industry, into sort of e-commerce. That person may help you shed some light on a gap in the market. We as a marketing agency, we're usually focused on growth. Technically we're a marketing agency, but we're more of a growth agency. And a growth agency really requires a proven, consistent flow of sales to be able to take on these clients.
Like evidence, is that what you're saying?
It's evidence.
Yeah.
It's evidence that your business has,
Or your brand or your product
has what market response.
Yep, absolutely.
Right, so really what your focus as an e-com or a new e-commerce brand owner is to try to figure out ways to attract sales organically, if possible, through word of mouth, through referrals, through influencer marketing, through all these, because there's no point in, and I'm going to speak now from a more technical perspective, there's no point in saying, hey, I'm going to chuck $50 a day on Facebook ads, but you've got absolutely zero, only one person speaking about the product. Like, why do you think a lot of our clients sell? It's because they just have insane, every time I go on Instagram, I'm seeing an influencer posting about our client. That's why our campaigns just gone through the roof.
But on the flip side of that, don't you think there's a lot of marketing agencies that will take brands starting at zero?
It's just another number. For us, it's not a number. For us, it's about, we want to build a relationship with the owner, with the company. We really want to be partners and invested into your brand just as you are invested in your brand.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's another topic in itself, but we can talk about how marketing agencies have been burning other sort of businesses and companies, and we just hear it day in, day out.
Yeah, we've covered a couple of good points there. Just a bit of a recap. Starting an e-commerce brand or an e-commerce store is not the wrong thing to do. We should 100%, go for it. Focus on the gap in the market that you're solving, or the problem in the market that you're solving. Focus on competitors in the space, maybe direct or indirect. Look at what other people in the space have done, not particular competitors, but say for example, like branding wise, colors, like, these are all like micro details, but they're still important in the overall picture, in the overall marketing or in the overall brand image. And then be prepared to fail. I think if there's one key takeaway that you can take from this, be prepared to fail, because it's unfortunately likely that you will.
90%.
Yeah.
Didn't we say that?
Correct.
Yeah.
But that being said, your brand may fail, but that doesn't mean you will. It just means that you will learn from those failures, take them and apply them into your next venture, and potentially take it to the next, take it to the moon.
I think you need to use that as encouragement. So failure, I think we tend to just fall down and
it's a downward spiral.
We need to use failure as a source of encouragement. It's like, that's okay. Like, now I've gained experience in that. How can I use that to move on?
Yep.
But I also want to add to the other point, one more point to what you were saying closing off, is you want to find someone, connect with someone who can help you get to where you want to get to. So
chat with other brand owners. I think
chat with other brand owners.
Even yes, we work with brand owners all the time, but having a chat with a brand owner, or someone who has worked and put in the hours and the ad spend and the product development and the research and the everything, they have a lot more insight to their own brand, obviously, than we would. So just speaking to them would learn a lot more about the brand than from just a regular creative brief or something, or some sort of marketing brief or whatever. So chat to people in the space, take them out for a coffee, lunch, whatever it may be, and learn from them. Just because if you copy the steps of someone in the space, or a competitor or a friend or whatever, it does not mean it will work for you. It's very, very crucial to understand that. And thus, what that means is success is found by doing and trying, not by copying someone else. You can be inspired, 100% be inspired by competitors in the space, but do not copy, because it just won't work for you.
So thank you guys for tuning into this episode today. We hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and stay tuned as we've got exciting new episodes coming your way very soon. Cheers.